Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. What's he up to now? Well, I did say next time I water the Cymbidiums, we would start using the Dynagrow bloom for those in spike. You saw my staking video, hopefully, the last one. That particular Cymbidium, the spikes are well advanced, so we're a bit late starting this type of feed. But for the others, the spikes are, in a more infantile stage, shall we say. So they'll get this feed right up to the point where the blooms open, which could be some considerable time, 2 to 3 months in some cases. So they're going to get this feed for a while. And I thought I'd start. This camera can focus in. The camera is currently between 3 and 4 centimeters from what you're looking at, and it's in focus, and that's because it's on the bench and I'm not touching it and nothing's moving, so it can focus very close. In the actual book that came with the camera when I got it, it said minimum focusing distance was 10 centimeters. Well, that's a lot closer than that. Anyway, so as soon as I move it, it'll go out of focus. So this is what we're using. That's not because I'm promoting this or anything, far from it. In fact, if this works and there's very little left, then next year I will use the Orchid Focus Bloom version of this type of feed so that they're compatible. Because obviously this is deviating from what I would normally use, but it's good stuff. I've been told by some reputable people that this stuff is good stuff. Whether it does what it says it's going to do, that is what this experiment is all about, and it starts today. Yeah, right. So those that are interested in feeding and that type of thing can carry on, and those that aren't can go and watch some cat videos or something, like I usually do when I'm bored. But you know what I mean, not everybody's interested in this sort of thing. But as it's the first time, I thought I'd film it. I certainly won't be filming it every time. Can you sort of see everything? Yes. Right. This has been completely sterilised because, let me go through the motions, what I've done. As I said in yesterday's video, today was watering the Cymbidiums day. So I mixed up a good feed. It was actually 380 of my Orchid Focus Grow and an additional 30 TDS up to 410 of CalMag. So that was the mix in RO water, and that went in at a pH of 6.6. And I watered the Cymbidiums that aren't in spike, and that was it's got to the point now where there's only a couple that aren't in spike. But anyway, first of all I used that feed for my Phalaenopsis and watered all of those out in the kitchen. And then what was left I used for the Cymbidiums that aren't in spike. And on the end of that bit, I actually watered Hannah's one, which is seriously virused. But prior to that, I watered the one that's in here that looks like it might be virus. So I did that one first, and then I did Hannah's last, and then I discarded the water and sterilised everything that it had been anywhere near with boiling water. I don't use a chemical or anything like that for sterilising kit. That's why I've got these halogen oven glass bowls. They're an oven. They can go up to 300 degrees centigrade. So pouring boiling water in them doesn't even touch the sides. And obviously boiling water sterilises. So that's what I did. And now we're going to mix up some more for the Cymbidiums that are in spike. And they will get watered this way from now on. So we'll start out with some water. Now there aren't that many, and this won't get used for anything else, so that's probably a bit too much of my water. But tomorrow is RO day, so everything's going to get topped up. And when I do my RO water and produce some more to fill up all my containers, I change the water in the deesser trays. So tomorrow's deesser day. I don't call it watering because they just, you know, I just take them out of one tray, empty it out and give it a clean, transfer the pots into another tray and top up with water. There's not really, I don't water individual pots obviously. So right, that's the stuff. Now I haven't used this before, so I don't know how strong it is. So we're going to have to do it carefully, a bit at a time. But these are Cymbidiums, and like Phalaenopsis will take a high level of feed. So we haven't used this before, so we'll get some out. And then we'll take that down to effectively a very small amount. And that is, because there's not much water in there for a start, that is, if that's 2, that's somewhere between 1 and 2 mil. So we'll pop that in. If it's too strong, I can add some water. If it's not strong enough, obviously we can add some more fertiliser. So you get our TDS meter, give that a swirl. And what have we got? Works better if you turn it on. What we've got is 200, just over 200, TDS of just over 200. So we need roughly that amount again to get it up to around 400, which is the level I normally feed. So, here's me 2, somewhere about there. I don't mind if it's a bit over. We won't be adding CalMag this time, so I'll go and wash that out in a minute. Right, where does that take us up to then? I'm aiming for around 400, a TDS of about 400. Now what have we got? 385, that'll do nicely. Right, so that's the level of feed they're going to get. Now the interesting thing, get the lid on before we knock it over, is what sort of pH have we got? Now, this is a different mix. So the first thing I did before we even started this video was go online and get the pH charts up for hydroponics to have a look at the main ingredients of this, because obviously I'm changing the priority here. You know, we've changed our priority from nitrogen priority to potassium. Yes? P anyway, NPK. So this is a dominant P, quite low nitrogen, and what I would call normal K value. So you change the balance from nitrogen down through those values, nitrogen down to P and up a bit for K, and now we're the other way round, and nitrogen's come right down, the P's gone right up, and the K's roughly the same. Yeah? So it's a different balance. That might have a dramatic effect on pH. With a well-balanced feed, yeah, with everything it should have, plus the additional bits that are often added in the background that they don't tell you about, you should be able to add it without changing the pH too much. But unfortunately, most feeds don't do that. I mean, the Orchid Focus Grow lowers my pH. My CalMag raises it. So when I put both in, it normally balances out roughly where I want it, and I don't have to mess about with this stuff. This is what I use as a pH up. Yeah, it's actually useful for plants for a start. As an additive, this is actually good stuff to add to plants. So using a couple of drips of that, that's all it takes. Literally, if I mix up quite a strong mix, if I didn't have my CalMag in that mix that I did for the other Cymbidiums, with a feed around 400, my pH would have dropped down to probably 5.8, 5.9. And to bring it back up to somewhere where I would need it, probably 2, maybe 3 drops of that. It's incredibly strong and incredibly alkaline. So what's our pH meter say? Oh, marvellous. 4.2. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. That's bad news. That is bad news. I'll be glad when I've used that up. Trouble is, I won't see Peter White now to get some of the Orchid Focus stuff, which that is just ridiculous to have dropped down that much. Yeah, 4.3. So we're going to need some. So what I have to do with this, because my little pipette, my big pipette, won't fit in the nozzle, what I do is I tip some out into the lid. Because don't forget we're using this as a drop level, not sploops, not anything other than drips. And then what I do is I suck it up into the pipette so that I've got, it's the tiniest amount. And now I'm going to drop in 1, 2, 3. Now that might not be enough. As I said, this is an unusually high amount I'm having to use here. Give that a stir, and then we'll see if the pH meter will adjust accordingly. That's flying up now. It hasn't gone up that much. We're up to 5.2 now. Still nowhere near it. So some more drips then. 1, 2, and a few. I've got a feeling that might be too much now. .9, steady at 5.9, still not enough. We'll have to go and get some more. 1, 2, try 2. I'm happy at anywhere between sort of 6.3 upwards really. Can go up as high as 7 for the nutrients I'm trying to get in there. Still too low. We're up to 6.1 now. I still want a bit more than that. Put another 2 drips in. Climbing. Yeah. One more. I know what's happening is the water on the outside of this is looking like it's a drip when it's actually not. The contents inside are not dripping in. Right, those drips definitely came from the inside. Because basically I'm adding drips in and nothing's happening. So obviously that's the water running down the outside, not the actual chemical. That's better. 6.4, that will do nicely. Right, so obviously that drops the pH like a stone, and I don't want a pH that low. That was ridiculously low. Akin to a peat bog, I would think, possibly even lower than that. And I've just got water all over my lens cap. Never mind. Right, so that's what I'm going to use. Watching me water, we don't need to do that. I just wanted people to have a look. Now what I've got to do now is go and give that a flush, get that cleaned out, and that, and then my pH meter with this one. This is not one that you have to store in a liquid or in anything other than what it says is rinse, dry, and put the cap back on. So this is a very easy pH meter to look after. You don't have to store it in special chemicals or anything like that. It just says rinse, and I use my jug water, my filtered water, rather than tap water obviously, which is hard. I could start getting calcium deposits if I use tap water. So basically I just give it a quick rinse, and then I dry it off with a paper towel, put the cap back on, back in there. So it's very easy to maintain, and I recalibrate it every now and again. So we will go and clean up, and the fact that I've sucked everything out of that lid, that can just go back on. And then we will use this to water what I've got now is there are 7 Cymbidiums if you count Hannah's. Now Hannah's is in spike, and the one that's possibly virus in here is also in spike. But I wanted to use that water up, so they're not getting this time round. They got the remainder of the previous mix, the Orchid Focus Grow. And what's left will get this mix. And as I said, this is the start of the experiment, and then we'll compare pictures of what the blooms looked like last year. One of which I haven't got, but that's a mistake on my part. And then we'll just see if we do get larger blooms, brighter colours, possibly even more blooms on a spike. It's supposed to affect the compactness of the spike so that they don't get too elongated and all that sort of stuff, so the blooms are a bit closer together, a bit bigger and brighter colours. That's what this stuff is supposed to do. We'll find out. So that's that. Now I can get on with my watering. See you next time. Bye for now.